Welcome to In the Groove with Todd and Jackie, the podcast where good vibes meet great conversations and change makers take center stage.
Each week, we sit down with inspiring authors, impactful speakers, and visionary leaders who are making a difference in the world.
We're bringing you powerful insights, engaging stories, and actionable ideas to amplify your voice and spark meaningful change.
So get ready to get in the groove as we dive into conversations that uplift, inspire, and empower.
Now, here's Todd and Jackie.
Hey, it's another groovy day, and that's because, well, we make it that way. Welcome to In the Groove with Todd and Jackie. I'm Todd.
I'm Jackie, and this is the podcast where good vibes meet great conversations and change makers take center stage.
That's right. We're talking to people who want to expand their mission, their message, and maybe even monetize their business with their message.
And besides this podcast, Todd and I get in the groove through many programs that we provide for young people, teenagers, adults, speakers, entrepreneurs, and so forth. We actually even have a couple of retreats in Costa Rica for entrepreneurs, those who want to craft their signature talk. We also have VIP experiences where we might travel somewhere, wherever you are or wherever I am, and spend some really focused 2 or 3 days at a time crafting that signature message that you have, and then getting it recorded in front of a live audience and building your asset library as a speaker as well. And of course, we have coaching opportunities, programs, and packages for anybody, even kids as young as 10 and up. So if they're interested in learning more about what we do or would like to hire one of us to help them out, how do they find us?
Well, it's really easy. Go to toddandjackie.com. That's toddandjackie.com. Click on the Impact and Outreach tab, and then you can find a whole list of different programs and things that we're involved with and teach you and drag you through the mud. No, I'm just kidding.
We have on record now, we have about a dozen young people that have been on the TEDx stage and given that type of signature talk. And when a young person, and I'm talking like 10, 13, 14, 17 years of age, stands on a stage that prestigious, their confidence soars and their self-worth increases as well. So
Pretty amazing.
We do that as well.
Everybody knows a kid that deserves to be on that stage.
Absolutely.
So send them our way. We want to talk to them.
I think kids these days are so much more brilliant than we were. Maybe it's because they have the internet and resources that they have access to resources we didn't. But
knowledge.
Anyway, so they get it, and they have lots of things to say when we let them. All right. Well, bringing good vibes today so that we can have a great conversation is a change maker named Andrew Quebbemann. Andrew is a financial services professional, and he's a wealth strategist with Gold Book Financial. He focuses on personalized financial planning, wealth management, and maximizing client resources. He's based in La Jolla, California, and I hear rumors that he's got a corgi. And corgi butts are the cutest dog butts on the planet. So, Andrew, come on and tell us a little bit about your precious little fur baby.
Hey, Jackie. Hi, Todd.
Hi.
Thanks so much for inviting me on. I'm really excited to be here and to talk to all of you out there. And I think your audience is definitely in the right spot to get in the groove for another day.
Nice. We like that. So what's your corgi's name?
My corgi's name is Colt.
Colt the corgi.
Yeah.
And they have cute butts, don't they?
They do. They have cute butts. And it's sometimes he's too aware that he's cute. Because he kind of walks down the street with expectations that other people should be paying attention to him and petting him. But no, he's a great time. He's the reason I met my wife. So he was my icebreaker with her.
Aw,
And yeah,
cute.
love the guy to death.
That's awesome. All right. Well, let's get down to business, right?
So tell us what you know. No, I'm just kidding. So one thing right out of the gate, Andrew, that we want to know and our audience wants to know is what is it that they're going to come away with our discussion today? What is it that they're going to be intrigued about?
Well, I like to just chat about, so when, we're talking about money and everyone kind of comes from different backgrounds and different families and their situation is different. So everyone's got their own stuff. But when it comes down to it, and I have conversations with families, for the first time, I always get, taken aback. There's always like a little bit of shame.
Mm,
And when I say shame, it's not a bad thing, but like there's no shame in a dollar. Because when people sit down and they talk with me and they go, "Oh, I know I should have done this, or I could have done that, or so and so said I should have done this a long time ago," um, or I know that I needed to get this done to, for my kids,
yeah.
and they kind of bring with this like that attitude, and it's okay, and I would say definitely don't be ashamed by that, but when you're having the conversations, with a financial professional like myself as a financial advisor, you're there already. You sat down to have the conversation. That is a great first step. That's the equivalent of you walked into the gym. Now all the
Ah,
equipment's sitting there and you have to figure out which, levers to push and weights to pick up and whatever. But you got the first step done and be proud of yourself for that and allow, like myself as a financial advisor to guide you through, the rest of that process.
nice. So that's a pretty unique message, and it might be, dare I say, a little dry in front of an audience. As much shame as might be on the minds of people when you talk about money.
Yeah.
When you're in front of a group of people and you're talking to them, what is it that you say that you think helps them realize, okay, I got to walk in that gym. I gotta go see that financial planner. Is there something in particular that you say that can spark that need for people?
Yeah, well, I guess, one of my favorite quotes, and I can't take credit for it because it's not mine, um, but it applies, I think, broadly in life, but I use it, of course, for my world, is people only think other people die.
Yeah.
I'll
Nice.
say it one more time. People only think other people die.
Right.
And I say that because you think that, like, go back to those of us that were in COVID, right? You think that someone else is going to get COVID, not me. You think that someone else is going to get in a car accident, not me. I don't know, if you're listening, I'm sure you've had a moment when you've been driving down the highway and you think every other person on the road is a horrible driver except for you.
Right. Well, it's true,
So,
isn't it?
obviously, for you, Jackie, I assume absolute perfection. And And so it's just one of those things where I think it's human nature. Like you're optimistic about your own life and you don't want to walk around being a doomsdayer
Mm,
because that's hard, right? That's depressing to walk around like, if I go across the street, a bus is going to hit me, right? That's a kind of a limiting thought. But I would argue that if you say to yourself, people only think other people die, I think that's kind of actually a freeing thought because it when I bring that up in conversations, I want to focus on what's important today, right? And at the end of the day, if someone cuts you off in traffic, that's not going to be your most fond memory when you're 85 and you're surrounded by
right.
your kids and grandkids.
Right.
Like that moment is not going to be that big a deal. So that's where we bring stuff up and we focus in on we're here today, things we want in the future are attainable in some fashion. So let's figure out how to get there and put some action items behind that. Because what I don't want to see happen is like the classic go back to the gym, the New Year's resolution where January the gym's packed and February the gym's empty,
Hmm.
Right.
right? And and so that's where I try to draw on some of the urgency for people to act on stuff like this because when like I dealt with a family that she unfortunately lost her father. It was super sudden, unexpected, and he walked in the hospital on Sunday, and Monday that was it. No warnings. And she was devastated. And she's a friend. I knew her father. Her father was a friend of mine. We had sat down once, and she gave me a call. And so she's having to deal with her father passing unexpectedly. And now she's giving me a call and she's asking me, "Hey Andrew, I know you sat down with my dad. Do you know what he had set up, or do you know like where his passwords are?"
Mm,
That's not the first thing that she wants to think about with her dad.
yeah.
So, I'm really proud that myself and my team, we were able to be there for her and guide her through what we could. There were some things that I couldn't do because I actually, her father was not a client of mine at the end of the day. But if you can avoid that situation, then why not? Because then that allows you to be more present as a human in your life with the people around you, go on the vacations that you want without having to worry, can I afford this or not afford this? Just
Yeah.
set it all on a shelf, offload it. Hire someone in your life to take on that burden for you that's got your back that you trust and see money for what it is. It's a tool.
Right. It's
That's
a
it.
tool.
That's it. There's no emotion to it. It doesn't care. It's math and time.
So, based on your experience,
Yeah.
what is a good age? Like early 20s, you're not really worried about it. You're invincible, you're indestructible. What the heck?
100%.
I'm just having a blast. I don't need to worry about that. And then all of a sudden, you're in your 40s, early 50s, and you're thinking, gosh, man, did I miss the boat? I need to be. So, give us, based on your experience, I guess what I want to know is when does a young person get it, right? When do they, right?
I think, yeah, a young person gets it. I was the same. In my 20s, I went to Europe. I had a lot of fun. And then all of a sudden I wanted to buy a house when I was 30 and I had to pull money out of my 401k for the down payment to get there the rest of the way. The 401k is not the ideal spot for that dollar.
Mm.
Right.
Um, so ideally, everyone talks to a financial advisor, financial professional, someone like that when they get their first job out of college. That's ideal. You're not thinking about all that. Everything you are 100% right, Todd. Like, you feel indestructible at that age and nothing's ever going to go wrong. Uh, but there's habits that can be formed and no matter what, like we can't beat time. If you get a 2% return or an 8% return or a 20% return, time, the average out over a longer period of time, that's what wins.
Right.
And so what I find in our practice is people tend to come to me right around when they either buy a house or have their first kid.
Yeah.
And not everyone takes action there, but then something happens, either the roof goes on the house or a second kid comes along, and then some of that rubber meets the road where people are starting to take action on some of this.
And
So that tends to be, obviously, people are having kids later and later these days. So in their 30s is like usually
yeah,
first conversations.
yeah. Well, I'm glad to know that there are young people coming to you because,
Not many.
yeah,
It's not many.
most people procrastinate into their
Yeah.
50s and 60s, I imagine. They go, okay, I guess I better do something about this, right? So,
Yeah.
how did you learn this was important? Did you have parents that had a well-laid plan financially for their futures to take care of you? And I don't know if you have siblings or something like that. Or how did you decide this is something that I want to do?
Accidentally, honestly. So I had financial advisors. I actually fired my first one. Not everyone is a good fit, and he created a taxable event on me that I wasn't prepared for, and
Mm,
I felt I should have been better prepared for. And so we split ways. But the my upbringing, around money, yeah, I had entrepreneurial parents, but we didn't talk about the business finances. We didn't talk about, how much my parents made or I mean, quite frankly, no in my life. I grew up in Wisconsin, so Midwest nice. So that means you say hi to everyone, greet everyone friendly, and you never, ever, ever ask how much something cost.
hmm Yeah.
Just don't.
Right.
And so that's the way that I grew up with it. But I started to feel like in my late 20s that I was like not as responsible as I could have be with my money, that I was just not paying attention to it, and I was assuming that I was going to make more. And so through a networking group, I had met a financial advisor, hired him, subsequently fired him. But that kind of got me going on this path of like, there's more here. Like I was like my brother, he's a lawyer. Lawyers and financial professionals, they're the only people that actually read the rules to the game that we're all playing.
Are you sure about that?
Not 100%. It's not fully tested,
Okay. Okay. I'm glad
but
you qualified that because I was like,
there's a lot out there to learn and to explore, and and that's kind of where it started. And the year that
Mm,
I opened my financial advising practice, I had written down in January, I want to learn more about finance because I thought it would help me in my career
mm.
and in just in my personal life. And then lo and behold, later that year, someone's giving me a call and saying, "Hey, I think you should do this. I've got this business opportunity." And I was
yeah.
like, You've seen my resume, right? There's no finance back there."
Nice.
But I'm
Well,
truly grateful for that.
Yeah.
this might be a good place to take a break. I need to process some things because my whole head's full of questions. So stay tuned. We've got more with Andrew right after this.
Hey, do you know a young person who has something to say, but just needs the confidence to say it? I think we all do. On May 9th, we're hosting Red X Youth Voices Summit. It's a full day of public speaking and leadership workshops for youth ages 10 and up. Many of these workshops will be facilitated by young people themselves. Red X stands for Real, Empowered, Dynamic. And that's exactly what we want young voices to become. In the morning, students are going to build confidence, practice communication skills, and learn how to speak with power and authenticity. Then in the afternoon, our high achievers take the stage with three exciting competitions: motivational speaking, impromptu speaking, and debate, where you will compete with your team. Competitors can register for the full day experience, including workshops and lunch. And parents, teachers, coaches, and friends are welcome to attend and cheer them on. But seating is limited, so register soon if you'd like to compete or simply be a spectator. And if you are interested in being a sponsor for a part of our day, we'd love to hear from you as well and support the nonprofit, the Speak Feed Lead Project, who is hosting this big event. So join us and watch young people become real, empowered, and dynamic speakers.
Welcome back to In the Groove with Todd and Jackie. And today we have an awesome guest with us. He is a financial planner. And before the break, we were talking about, well, I guess basically young people when they get started, how they get started, what's a good time. And I still have one lingering question, Andrew, and that's pertinent to these days. And and so I'm going to ask it. So if I was young, should I consider what state to set up shop in before I got too far down the road? Because it seems to me that there are some states that are just kind of off the chart with the way they're doing their business. How's that?
That's fair. I probably would, you could argue I live in one of those states in California. So I would say, definitely be cognizant of it. Um, I guess what I would say in that case, be aware of your income potential, through whatever career path that you're on, and hold yourself to the value that you bring to an organization. Um, Obviously as you're younger working up, like you're gonna gain more experience, you're gonna gain more value, so you're not gonna, demand the top dollar on the first day. But definitely be cognizant of it. I used to live in Raleigh, North Carolina. Now I live in, just north of San Diego in California. There is a significant difference in what it takes to
Hmm.
live.
Hmm.
So be aware of that and yeah, do some math on that before you do it.
Nice. Good answer. So I'm thinking about how a lot of people procrastinate making this decision to get help because, as you mentioned earlier, there's a shame factor there.
Yeah.
And maybe hearing from you about uh, something that was beneficial to you might strike a nerve in them to go, yeah, okay, that sounds like something that, might help me too. So, would you mind, Andrew, sharing a couple of things? One, what would you feel at this point in your life has been your greatest financial achievement or accomplishment? And then, just so that we know you're human,
Mhm.
if you're willing, to share with us a failure you've had financially that maybe, someone on your side could have helped you with.
Yeah. Without a doubt, for like my personal life, for my practice, this would be a different answer, but for my personal life, my most proud moment, financially was, um, buying and then really s- significantly renovating an entire house.
Mm.
Mm,
Um, so because it wasn't just the financial side of it, because if I'm honest and I run the numbers, I'm not sure that it was 100% the best numbers decision. But it was really great because it allowed me to experience what it's like to maintain a budget. Like because I had to like manage the project myself. I did a lot of the work
mm,
myself. I did probably about 80% of the work in the house myself. And this is
wow.
renovating two bathrooms down to the studs and the kitchen down to the studs and replacing load bearing walls. Like we went after it.
Yeah.
So I think just managing that financial flow is probably like the part that I'm most proud of because I was like I had Home Depot memorized.
Knew where everything was in which aisle, right?
Yeah. People started asking me like, "Hey, you know where this is in the store?" They'd seen me there so much. Um, So that I think just managing that because I hadn't had that experience in life like I had mentioned like earlier in my 20s I was carefree and money in money out, and that was the first time that I actually had to like really consciously just stick to things and make sure that I was managing my own income appropriately.
Yeah. Yeah. And that would be a great reason for me if I'm looking for a financial planner to say, I know he's been through some stuff that he's had to manage quite, you know, task oriented like. And
Hmm.
so that would help me feel more comfortable working with someone like you.
Yeah.
Have you made any mistakes?
Yes. Yes. I'm a big fan of personal growth and pushing, like, I always want to do a little bit better every day. And this also is in my mid 20s. This is the time of life to do all this stuff. I came across this guy. I'm not even sure how this happened, but he was advertising himself as a like a production multiplier, and like he was gonna like
Mhm.
listen to him, go to his class, and he was like, come to spend 2 weeks with us in Scotland, and you're gonna turn around and you're gonna be this dynamo in whatever career that you're in and all this whatever. For whatever reason, the message at that time completely grabbed me in. I sunk $10,000 into it as a down payment. And then I started thinking about it some more, and I found a podcast that he had published, and it was awful.
Oh,
And it sounded clunky, and he was like not eloquent, and I was like, I couldn't believe like, and all of a sudden these warning bells are just screaming in my head.
mhm. Hmm.
Long story short, I canceled. I did not get my $10,000 back. And if for those of you that have been through that, that's kind of one of those amounts where it's just on the like it's a lot,
Mhm.
but it's not quite enough to get an attorney involved and go down that path because I may have netted $2,000 or $3,000 and after a couple of years worth of work. So
Yeah.
ended up eating that. So listen to yourself. Trust but verify.
That is such a great
Especially
lesson.
before you do a
You
big
don't
wire
know what
transfer
you
to a
don't
foreign
know
country.
until you know it.
Yeah. No,
And
that's
that
great.
Yeah,
those are the kinds of lessons that just keep us humble, but they also make us cautious. So
Yeah.
yeah, that one hurt a lot because I in my head it was just I was more embarrassed really than anything. I mean the
Yeah.
money sucked, but I was more embarrassed and kind of like felt like I was taken um, for a ride on that whole thing.
right.
And it makes you cautious to trust again, right? Which could be detrimental because maybe the best person for you comes along next, but you're in this mindset of, yeah, I don't know if I'm really to just believe anybody again, you know? So, I mean, lots of lessons from those types of things, but it can
Yeah,
make, what's the saying? Once bitten, twice shy, something like
yeah,
that. So,
yeah.
okay. So
Well,
have, oh, go ahead.
Andrew, how do people find you?
Yeah, I appreciate that question, Todd. Easiest way to find me is noshameinadollar.com. I've said it a couple of times. I strongly believe there is no shame in a dollar. It's a tool that we have. So noshameinadollar.com. I'm not looking for any money or anything. It's you know, let's stay in touch. Let's keep the conversation going because maybe you want to chat today, maybe you want to chat in 6 months. Um, that's all great. I'm here to educate and to be there for the community and connect you with others if necessary. Um, like other financial professionals out there also provide great pieces of service like estate attorneys and things like that. So
Mhm.
that's the easiest is just noshameinadollar.com.
Awesome. How are you getting your message out right now, Andrew? I understand you're going on some podcasts. Thank you for being on this one.
Yeah, I'm doing a lot of podcasts these days. I got 3 going this week. So that's the primary way. I'm very grateful that the people that I do work with are kind enough to provide other wonderful people in their world. So,
Yeah. Cool.
referrals are a beautiful thing and a great way to build the community.
Excellent. Okay.
My goodness, we're just about out of time. I hope you enjoyed the show. One last question, Andrew. I'm
Sure.
I'm full of it today, aren't I? We want to know, and the audience wants to know how you get in the groove every day.
That starts the night before for me, actually. Every night I spend some time and I actually have been meditating. To practice, I only started a couple of
Mm,
years ago, but just taking that time, to center on myself and allows me to get a good night's sleep and pop up the next day and get in that groove.
nice. That's awesome. Well, thank you for being on In the Groove with us today. We really enjoyed talking with you and for sharing not only what you do, but the reasons that you do it and the benefits that people can find by working with you. NoShameInADollar.com is, did I say that right, Andrew?
You got it.
is Andrew's website. Once again, look him up and look forward to your future success, present success, and future success, Andrew.
When's
Thank
the
you,
book
Jackie.
coming out? Where's
book? The book has been discussed. The book is still in the cobwebs of a brain somewhere.
Yeah.
So it
That's
has
where
yet
it
to
all
be the
starts.
Yeah, you gotta have it for street cred. That's just it may not make sense, but at least it's street cred.
Yeah, that's what I hear. So
Thanks for being on the show today. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the show. My biggest hope is that you will tell a friend about the show. We used to have telephones. I guess we still have telephones, but we have this thing called tell a friend. Tell a friend about this cool podcast. Lastly, please, please, please make it a great day, because it is all about choice, and you should choose to connect with Andrew and get your bucks in a row. Bye-bye for now.
Bye.
That's a wrap for this episode of In the Groove with Todd and Jackie, where good vibes meet great conversations and changemakers take center stage.
We hope you've been inspired by today's guest and are ready to bring more positivity, connection, and impact into your world.
If you love this episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs a little groove in their life.
And don't forget to check us out on toddandjackie.com for more great conversations.
Until next time, keep shining, keep grooving, and keep making a difference.